Okay, well,
Okay, scenario 2 is on focus on learning cultures and sustaining cultures. Is that correct?
um, yes, focus on learning culture. Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Uh, who would like to go first? And the first question is, what essential element should be a part of your new evaluation system?
I can go first if nobody minds. So after reading the scenario and looking at the questions, I think a lot of things begin with surveying your teachers. Mm-hmm. What's important to them. So I think the first step would be to survey your teachers, find out what they think is important to be evaluated on, and what they think is important for the principal to focus on. And so once you do that, then you could develop your evaluation. But an essential element that I think is very important is where do you need help? Where do you need assistance as the teacher in the classroom? Because a lot of time your mind is totally focused on your classroom and your kids, and you forget about the bigger picture. So maybe, taking some time out to focus on that. And the way to get your staff members to support you is by letting them have the feedback on, or taking that survey to find out what they think is important. And if they made it, then why wouldn't they support it? Because it's what they think is important.
Okay.
I kind of thought this was a little hard, and it took me back to that whole teacher tenure, where one of the reasons teacher tenure was a negative aspect because our evaluation system is flawed. Mm-hmm. I don't know what evaluation system your county uses, but ours uses a checklist. And so the principal will come into our room, watch our lesson, but go through a checklist of information. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're a good teacher because you have things checked off. And so aside from that evaluation system, I think there should be another one maybe your school uses. And I think right along the line at what Paula said, every teacher has something different that they want to work on. And if you've been a teacher for, as long as I have, when a previous evaluation system, it was a checklist, but I kind of thought it was geared more towards how you were teaching and if you were reaching students and if they were learning and so forth. I don't know if anybody remembers that previous to the one we're doing now.
I think the one that we have is a checklist, and I'm not crazy about it because say if they come in and you're not doing a group, or you have your students working in a group, well, then that's kind of counted against you because they say, well, we didn't see any group activities. And I don't like that. Or sometimes they may say, well, when you're looking at your list, you're kind of confused because you say, well, I did a group activity right after you left, but your response that you get is, well, we didn't see it. Mm-hmm. So I think we do need a new evaluation system. And I think the way to get your teachers to support you is give them a say. Let them have an input, into how we should be evaluated.
My biggest thing about our evaluation system, ours is not. I don't know that I would consider ours a checklist. And I thought the one we used was used throughout the state, but it's like there's 4 levels of each thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And they pick and my issue with it is that it's like some of the stuff on there can't be seen when you observe me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Stuff like collaboration with other teammates or my level of professional development, that kind of stuff, mm-hmm. is included in that evaluation method, but it specifically says on it that the principal can't count stuff that they see other than during the 45-minute observation. Right. So how are they supposed to ever put that in there?
Mm-hmm. Unless they actually come and see you at other times.
Right, but see, that's not during the observation, and I was told that the principal can't put anything in there that's not during the observation.
I know I have either the principal or the AP observing me, And when it comes to those, she just puts not observable because she says
Exactly. So she has to put not looked for. But then the problem with that is, at the end of the year when you get to your summative, now in Guilford County, the principal could put whatever they wanted on the summative. In Rockingham County, they can't. It's automatically calculated by your 3 observations through the year. So like whatever, if you had the most of proficient at something, if you had 2 proficients and 1 developing, you get proficient on your summative.
Mm-hmm.
And the principal can't change it. So if you got not observed all year on the professional development, there's no principal can't fix it at the end of the year. No matter how many times they saw you go to professional development, they can't fix it anymore.
I thought that, say if you did get 2 proficient and a developing, but then they put you on some type of plan.
No. If you get a developing on your summative evaluation, you get an action plan. But if you get it on one of your observations, as long as it's not most of your, does that like make sense? Like if you got 2 proficients in developing, you got 2 of 1, and so they always count your summative as the proficient. Or like for me, some of them I got 2 because I had a peer review too this year. I got 2 accomplished, 2 proficients. They counted me as proficient on my summative instead of accomplished because it was 2 of each. And I didn't think that was fair either. But the principal couldn't do anything about it. She said I can't change it. It's automatically calculated and there's nothing I can do. So that bothered me a lot. And I think there needs to be more leeway for administrators to give you what they actually see and not, oh, I was in your room 45 minutes. I didn't see you do any professional development, so I can't count it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the answers I put down too, that maybe there needs to be a section added where it discusses the professional development you've completed throughout the year, and that should add points or some credit toward your evaluation, because honestly, I barely do any professional development during the year. It's maybe during the summer, but I think teachers who do should get credit for that, because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, and they don't give you a choice to go, and then you don't get credit for it.
Right, and then credit for participation in clubs, extracurricular activities, because I know being middle and high school, we have to do that stuff in the afternoons all the time. It's like required. And there are some teachers that don't do anything. But I'm staying after school and I participate. I coach 2 clubs. And I do things on Saturdays in relation to the clubs. That should be included too. And it's not.
It's not added on your evaluation? They don't add it?
No, it's not. The only thing I ever seen is in the comments. The teacher, she'll mention that, like in the comments, but I don't know if it's anything specific in our evaluation system that talks about that.
I thought it doesn't fall under leadership when you stay. Because I know for us, if we stay, it's counted under the leadership column.
Okay.
Because you're taking a leadership role, so we count that. I'm in Castle County, so.
But I think question number 1 is tough because we don't control the evaluation system as administrators.
Yeah.
So I guess the state does, unless we want to be involved in the state changing it.
I think it's just it's really very generic, and it's supposed to fit all teachers across the board. I'm not sure they use the same one for EC teachers and for, AIG teachers, or, every teacher, every grade level. Like if you walk in a 5th grade classroom, you're not going to see the same thing in the kindergarten classroom.
Right.
So it's just different. So I just think there should be a lot of changes made depending on what you teach, where you teach, and how you teach.
Yeah, and I don't know when that new evaluation system came, but I still have the old ones in my portfolio. So I should go back and really look at them and see what is the difference. I mean, there's a lot more to the new one, but I don't know. I would make sure maybe that your the beginning of the year, and then the middle of the year and the end of the year. What is that form that we fill out called?
Your PDP?
Yeah. Our PDP, we set these goals for ourselves, but they're really never evaluated by anybody but ourselves. So maybe if somehow the principal could evaluate that too, and make sure we're working towards our goal and not just, I think we're the only ones that really evaluate ourselves if we're working towards it or not.
All right. That's a good point.
Yeah. Question number 2 just says, how would we get our staff member to support the new evaluation system? And I think I was just thinking through personalization. That I think Paula mentioned that at the beginning, that I know I would rather have it more personalized. This is what I want to work on. Can you help me with it, kind of thing.
Right. If they have if the teacher has input, then I don't see how they could not buy into it and be, okay with it. If I have input into it and I gave out ideas and my ideas were taken into consideration,
right,
then why not?
I think that's a tough one, because I know my mentality as a teacher, the second I hear something about another type of evaluation, I'm gonna roll my eyes, because I have seen it all this year. I've been audited twice. I've had my regular observations. I've had to go through the peer observations, just everything. And it's like, I'm sick of evaluations. Like, have I not proven myself yet? So
it's all just about paperwork.
Exactly. So I think, like, as a teacher, you have to show that it might even be something where you just kind of have to force them through it for a semester or whatever until they see that it's a good thing and get on board with it. Because it's going to be hard to convince them that one more evaluation is worth it, especially because it says in the scenario that you're still going to have to do the official one from the county. So they're going to be like, so now we got this on top of the other one. So you're probably just going to have to make it happen. And then when they see that it's different and that it works, their attitudes will change.
Right. And I think it just all comes back to having the teacher give the teachers give their input on how they feel about the evaluation. And most of the time, if we can give our input about something, and as Paula said, and feel like the information that we're sharing is valued, you're more likely to buy into it.
Yeah, but I feel like I kind of too have to remember what Dakota's saying, because we ourselves, we there's so much that as a teacher we are responsible for, and that we're constantly doing, and that we're constantly being asked to do. And as administrators, we can't forget that, how we felt as teachers, because it's like another new thing. Come on, really? So it's like we have to make it worthwhile for our teachers, because that's the only way I would buy into it, is how is this going to make me better? How is it worthwhile? What am I going to get out of it, kind of thing.
Okay. Anything else? Okay.
And question number 3 is, how will the new evaluation system be used?
Well, to evaluate, of course. It's going to be used by the administrator, we would assume, at any time they decide to do an evaluation, announced or unannounced.
Right. Yeah, but
I guess this can also be used by the peers as well.
Right.
That's a tough one for me, because if we're talking about how is the data going to be used, then you come into that whole issue of, it says you still have to use the official one. So is this data actually going to be, are you going to be able to really use it for anything? Like, say if you've got a teacher who needs to be terminated, and you've got all this data from your unofficial, per se, evaluation, but maybe you don't have so much from the official evaluation, and you take that to the school board, is the school board going to say, no, we need the official stuff? Are they going to let you use your own customized data to prove that a teacher doesn't need to be employed anymore?
I'm sure they will. I'm sure it happens probably every day.
I don't think in my county they would. I don't think they would. Because I've seen teachers get arrested with drugs on them and be back at work 2 days later because the principal didn't have the data needed.
Wow.
Really?
She finally got fired this semester for falsifying state testing.
My word.
Yeah. And he kept trying. My principal kept bringing it to the school board, and they kept saying no.
That's interesting.
Right, very. Goodness.
But I think you're right. I think the evaluation system needs to be used, I mean, in that way where, I mean, ultimately, it's to see if your teachers are doing what they're supposed to do. And if not, then you're finding ways to help them make improvements. Because, right, you know, there's every teacher's, I just look at, you know, now we're looking at everyone we work with, I think, and using different eyes, and how not every teacher does everything exactly the way we want them to, but are they fulfilling what they need to fulfill as a teacher? And I think that's what that observation should be used for, to make sure your staff is doing the job they should, and if they're not, provide them with whatever they need to help them. Because, I mean, it's hard, like Dakota was just saying, it's hard to get rid of teachers that are not doing what they should do.
But see, it's hard to doing 3 evaluations a year. It's really, how can you word it? I mean, really, it's not enough to see exactly what your teachers are doing. 3 a year? I mean, come on, 3. So I can walk in on Paula in August, and she could be doing a wonderful job, right? October, horrible job, but I haven't checked in on her. December, a horrible job, but I haven't checked in on her. She just looked up on May when I walked in and was doing an excellent job. So 3 a year, you really can't tell what a teacher is doing with 3 evaluations.
But I mean, that's why you make yourself visible throughout the year. You know, you don't just go and see them during those times. You know, at least once a week, my principal is coming into my room, just kind of hanging out. But we do have a small school now. Mm-hmm. Our school is, 600 and some odd students. Mm-hmm. It's very small. But I would think that if it was a larger school, mm-hmm. Each grade level, I know for middle school at least, has their own AP. So I would expect my APs, when I'm principal, to be doing that job too. Make yourself visible, make sure you're going into the rooms and seeing what's happening. Right. And if you see a teacher sitting at their desk every time you walk in there, then that's a problem.
Absolutely.
Or you go in there and it's chaotic, that's a problem. So, and I think that's how you might control. I never did this myself, and I wouldn't expect my teachers to have this, wonderful lesson each time I walk in there. I want to see something normal. I don't want to see this spectacular thing that you're throwing together just for me. I don't want to see a show. I want to see reality.
Right, and that's why they do unannounced, so they can, see what you're doing, because if you know that they're coming, you're going to do your best.
Yeah.
But if you are a good teacher and you're really there for the right reason, you're going to pretty much try to do your best every day. Now, we all have a bad day. It's like, oh my God, or you create a lesson and it just doesn't work. But if you are, now thinking from an administrative position, if you are in teaching and you are in teaching for the correct reason, then you should try to do your best every day. I'm not saying have a spectacular lesson plan, but you should be doing your job. Now, we all have bad days. We all have bad days. And like I said, sometimes you put a lesson plan together and it's like, what did I do? And it just doesn't flow. And I'm sure we all, and it's like, and I'll tell my students, oh, Lord, this is not going to work. So let's think of something else. So I think that's one thing with the evaluation. You need to look at who you're hiring. Looking at the teachers, right? But knowing that they're desperate for teachers, but I think what's happening, they're just hiring people. They have a license to teach, but they're not really teachers. And that's why you have that's where a lot of problems come into when you walk into the classroom and you see that teacher behind the desk every day. That should tell you that she is not one that really needs to be there. And I think that's the whole purpose of doing away with tenure. So, okay, come end of the year, Dakota, you're not doing your job. Well, I don't have to sign your contract.
Well,
so it makes it easy to get rid of teachers who may not, well, how can I say this? Well, I'm not saying it makes it easy to get rid of teachers that should not be in the teaching profession, but it makes it easy to get rid of teachers that should not be in the teaching profession. And that's why they did away with tenure. So you can't, so if you're doing a poor job, I don't have to worry about going to the school board. I'm just not going to sign your contract because you're not doing a great job. And I have the proof, so we really don't have a fight because it's a contract.
Well, I think there's several points. First of all, they call them unannounced. I know when my principal's coming. I know. They call it unannounced, but I know. Because there's only like a 2-week window when she can do it.
Okay.
I know. And on top of that, half the time she'll show up and I'll be on my way out for an IEP meeting. And she'll be like, well, when can I come back? On top of that, we have walkthroughs. But what I'm hearing is that you guys only see your principals every once in a while. We have walkthroughs all the time. They have like a Google Doc that they fill out, a Google form. They pop in for 5 minutes. Are the kids engaged? Are your rules posted? Little stuff like that, and move on. But I think that a lot of it is stuff that you have to know your teachers. Because like for me, I have central office walkthroughs and regular school walkthroughs because I'm EC. But I can't stand anymore. I'm not allowed by the doctor. So I plan great lessons, but usually my assistant is the one up doing it and everything, and I have to sit down the whole time.
But you have a legitimate excuse. We're talking about healthy teachers who should be up on our feet working with our students. So you have a legitimate excuse for being seated because you're expecting. But we're talking about teachers who should be teaching and can.
But see, my principal knows that. If she wasn't someone who knew her teachers, she'd come in all the time and be like, why are you always sitting? And I'd probably get in trouble over it. But she comes in and she knows if she wants me there, she's going to let me sit. So I think that's really important. And then, like I said, the walkthroughs with because there's everybody on our leadership team at our school does walkthroughs, not just our principals. So that the 3 principals and the head of every department does walkthroughs.
Okay.
So they pop up whenever they want to, and all the data goes to the principal from the Google Forms. So he knows you might not, honestly, I don't think he's been in my room, set foot in my classroom all school year.
Oh, yeah.
But he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he has 980 kids. So.
But. Okay.
Well, I think that makes a good point that, when you're at a larger school, you have to trust other people in a leadership position to do that for you.
But I think
you walk through.
But I think as an administrator, you want to set a good example for your teachers as well. You're going to have to find some time to show up in the classroom because I would truly hate to work at a school where I would never see my principal. I want my students to see my principal. I don't care if it's just one day out of the month, but let them know that if I'm an administrator, I would want my teachers to see me. I don't care how big the school is, but I would want my teachers to walk through I would want to walk through and my teachers see me. I don't care if it's just once or twice a month, but as long as we have 10 minutes left.
I agree, because that's one thing my principal keeps telling me is make sure you always make yourself visible. During class changes, be out there, be visible. So.
Right, because if you're not visible, I can tell you right now, your staff, they will not respect you because they never see you.
Yeah.
So if you want their respect, you have to, let them know that you care about them. Okay, we have 10 minutes. We have 9 minutes and 28 seconds. Do we want to stop and talk about what's left for the remainder of the semester?
Yes.
Okay, let me stop recording.